Hello and welcome to ThomasGeigerCar. Today with the first new Mini since years. After we've seen facelift after facelift and special edition after special edition, we finally have the first member of the new Mini family. And it is the biggest one, the next generation Countryman. Still available as petrol, as diesel, and for the first time ever, fully electric, which is this car. If you want to know all about the vehicle that hits the market later that spring, join me on my first test drive and I'll tell you all about it. But before we get behind the wheel, let's just take a moment to take a look at the design and the dimensions of the vehicle. It is cleaner than ever, it's cuter than ever, but it is still Mini, at least when it comes to the form. When it comes to the format, it's a bit bigger than before. It grew about 15 centimeters, making it 4.50 meters almost in length and making it the biggest Mini ever. Is it still a Mini in that size? Is it still the driving machine, the go-kart for the city? Or is it just a cute, fancy, compact SUV? That's what we're gonna figure out on our test drive. So why don't you join me and we'll hop into the car. Not only the exterior has been heavily modernized, no, also the interior is making a huge step in towards the digital and the carbon-free age. We have a totally new material setup with no leather anymore, no chrome, all sustainable, all environmentally friendly, all recycled. And we have a completely new user interface. There is no cluster instrument behind the wheel anymore. All the informations are displayed on this circular touchscreen that somehow reminds me on a jukebox. And we still have a head-up display with this deployable plastic shield, which doesn't really fit to the prices and to the premium approach of Mini. That's fine for a volume brand, for a budget brand, but not for a premium brand from a company that has invented the head-up display and that is now preparing the next generation head-up display, panoramic vision for the Neue Klasse, which uses the full width of the windscreen to display the informations. In this case, we still have to deal with that plastic shield of the size of a beer mat, but all the attention is focused on that center screen. That is for navigation, that is for infotainment, that is for all the information about your electric drivetrain. And that displays the different experiences that Mini has programmed. Usually we all know drive modes, sport, eco, comfort. Mini has gone one step further and has made it an experience which not only works with the drivetrain, the suspension, the steering and the brakes, which also works with the interior lighting and with the mood of the car. Once you switch that, you see the displays changing, you hear an engaging sound that somehow gets you into the right mood. And I'll just show you a few of them. So this is the trail mode, exclusively made for the Countryman. Since this is an off-road vehicle with all-wheel drive, you have the trail mode. And if we switch further, we'll have a balanced, very relaxed mode. We have your personal mode. We have a timeless classic mode, a vivid mode, a green mode for maximum efficiency, and the best mode and the typical Mini mode is the go-kart mode. And now shut up and listen. This is the engaging sound that really wants you to make the vehicle go fast and that really wants you to enjoy the drive. And that is exactly what we are going to do right now. Yeah, finally driving the Mini Countryman electric. And what a surprise, it feels like every electric vehicle. It has very nervous driver assistance systems due to the regulations. So if you hear a beep once in a while, it's just because I'm driving too fast, which easily can happen in an electric vehicle where you totally lose the sense for speed. And speed is something that is pretty much available in the electric Countryman, especially if you drive the SE version with 2 motors and 250 kilowatts. Then you accelerate from 0 to 100 in 5.6 seconds and you reach a top speed of 180 kilometers per hour. In Germany, the car costs 49,500 euros, which is pretty expensive, and that's the reason why Mini has a second version on the market already. This is the Countryman E with only front-wheel drive, one motor, 150 kilowatts and a price tag of 43,500 euros. Still 10% more expensive than the cheapest petrol version. We have petrol versions from 170 horsepower up to 300 horsepower in the John Cooper Works model that then accelerates from 0 to 100 in 5.4 seconds and goes up to 250 kilometers per hour. One special thing, there is also a diesel available, so if you really look for range, you better go for the Countryman D with 163 horsepower. Talking about range and going back to the electric vehicle, we have a battery of 66.5 kilowatt hours that translates to a range of 430-450 kilometers in the WLTP drive cycle. Once the battery is empty, you need a little bit of patience. Since the car is using the same technology as the BMW iX1 and iX2, charging is not its best strength. It only charges with up to 130 kilowatts, which means it is slower than many of the competitors. And it is slower than the other Minis that are coming in the near future. While this car is a pure BMW development, the next generation 3-door Mini hatchback and the new model Aceman is a co-development with Great Wall Motors in China. They're using the Chinese electric architecture, and this can charge much faster. Up to 150, maybe even 170 kilowatts are in the talking. When it comes to competition, this car is pretty unique because, especially from the German brands, there is nothing to match the Countryman. Mercedes EQA is too serious, Audi has nothing, and the Smart is already a Chinese vehicle by now. But Smart #1 is maybe the closest competitor, same as the sibling Seeker X. So there is just another fancy alternative in the SUV jungle nowadays. Thanks for joining me on that first test drive with the electric Mini Countryman, a car that perfectly fits into the time. It is an SUV as people love it, but it's not as bold and as provocative as other SUVs. And it is a typical Mini. No, definitely not when it comes to the size. It is the biggest Mini ever, don't forget that. But when it comes to the driving performance, to the agility, and most of all to the twinkle in the eyes, it is a Mini and it will stay a Mini. And this is what makes the difference to all the new Chinese competitors and the other cars from Europe. If you toggle through the drive styles, you always have a smile on your face. It doesn't make much difference and it is just for fun. But fun is all that matters to a brand of Mini. Yes, you have to pay a price for that, but that is also typical Mini. The only downside of the vehicle is the electric drivetrain. Power is good, battery capacity is fine, but charging is the weak point of the vehicle. 130 kilowatts at the best is only average, and there are many competitors charging much faster. But improvement is already on the horizon. BMW is working hardly on the Neue Klasse with more efficiency and more charging power, and once Mini gets that, Mini is up on the market again. Thank you, Tschüss, Seitchen, and goodbye.